this Illuminati.
Special State Department envoy Henry Kissinger, Bilderberg Group, Trilateral Commission, and CFR.
World order.
Where are we as we think about this time in American foreign policy? Are we at a special moment which is being redefined? Or are we creating a new world order?
We're at a moment when the international system is in a period of change like we haven't seen for several hundred years. In some parts of the world, the nation state on which the existing international system was based is either giving up its traditional aspects, like in Europe, or as in the Middle East.
And Henry Kissinger, who gave Barack Obama his first job out of college, told national television that the economic collapse was a great opportunity to bring in the New World Order. He went on to say that Barack Obama was the perfect person to sell it to the world.
But he can give a new impetus to American foreign policy, partly because the reception of him is so extraordinary around the world. I think his task will be to develop an overall strategy for America in this period when really a new world order can be created. It's a great opportunity. It isn't just a crisis. I think his task will be to develop an overall strategy for America in this period when really a new world order can be created. It's a great opportunity.
The world that maybe some people dreamt of at that conference back in Bournemouth, when it looked as if maybe history would end, that liberal democracy would triumph, that free market economics would slowly progress, and we'd have a new world order.
And together they helped to create, were the principal leaders in creating, a new world order and a winning strategy in the Cold War.
We are part of a new world order. And as the recently departed Admiral William J. Crowe once said, it's long on new and it's short on order.
Walter Isaacson wrote a wonderful book about some of the wise men who helped shape the New World Order following the Second World War.
As we devise a way forward in Iraq,
I urge the international community to embrace its responsibility for creating that new world order, a new world order based upon collective action.
The transatlantic partnership was never just the foundation of our security. It was the foundation of our way of life. It was forged an experience of the most bitter and anguished kind. Out of it came a new Europe, a new world order, a new consensus as to how life should and could be lived.
And just like that, it was gone. It was a new world order. That's what President George H. Bush said. Harvard historian Francis Fukuyama pronounced the end of history.
H.W. Bush would campaign for a new world order like no other president before him. He would openly discuss it during his State of the Union address.
What is at stake is more than one small country. It is a big idea, a new world order, where diverse nations are drawn together in common cause to achieve the universal aspirations of mankind.
Again, a unified Europe was a major goal in creating this order.
With few exceptions, the world now stands as one. A year and a half ago, in Germany, I said that our goal was a Europe whole and free. Tonight, Germany is united. Europe has become whole and free. The world can therefore seize this opportunity to fulfill the long-held promise of a new world order. We can find meaning and reward by serving some higher purpose than ourselves. A shining purpose, the illumination of 1,000 points of light.
Bush Sr. and his administration would tour and promote this agenda across the board at any given opportunity.
The president has spoken often of a new world order.
And we have an unprecedented opportunity to build a new era of peace and prosperity here and abroad, to build a new world order.
It's my understanding, I think that the president, and I don't know the context of how it came up in his speech last night in New York, said that China must be a part of the new world order. Guess I would like to ask you how you envision China fitting into the new world order.
It is a country that we are going to have relationships with by virtue of its geopolitical importance.
American officials say breaking down regional and national barriers to the flow of goods and services would represent a spectacular benefit to economies around the world.
We are building a new world order.
Bush would actually make a commencement address at Maxwell Air Force Base declaring the birth of this order.
And that's why I wanted to speak to you today about the new world taking shape around us, about the prospects for a new world order now within our reach. In the coming weeks, I'll be talking in some detail about the possibility of a new world order emerging after the Cold War. But today, I want to discuss another aspect of that order. You see, as the Cold War drew to an end, we saw the possibilities of a new order in which nations work together. It refers to new ways of working with other nations to deter aggression and to achieve stability. As old threats recede, new threats emerge. The quest for the new world order is in part a challenge to keep the dangers of disorder at bay. We must build on the successes of Desert Storm to give new shape and momentum to this new world order. Only when this transformation is complete will we be able to take full measure of the opportunities presented by this new and evolving world order. The new world order really is a tool for addressing a new world of possibilities. This order gains its mission and shape not just from shared interests, but from shared ideals.
After the Gulf War had ended, Bush was so obsessed with the idea of a new world order that he had a series of Glocks imprinted with the term that he would give to members of his administration, including Colin Powell, Brent Scowcroft, Dick Cheney, and General Norman Schwarzkopf.
I mean, this man is a Greek, undercover, some type of, fag to me. Brother Joel, I sent you the link so the world can hear what he's talking about while he's trying to, assassinate my character. Let the world hear what his character is. How he got spanked on his ass and how he enjoyed it and took pride in it. Could you play that, Brother Joel, so the world can hear what type of freak nigga this is? This is a freak nigga, a fun boy. Listen to it. Pay attention. This nigga's a fun boy, yo. It's a damn shame. And I'm not trying to be funny, but he said, yes, he did, and he enjoyed it. Listen to what he said. It's a grown-ass man let some men smack him on his ass. That's a damn shame. And I think the world needs to hear what these so-called new age Afrocentrics is into. That's some fun boy shit. And that's a damn shame, man. We need to let the world hear what type of character this man is while he's trying to assassinate my character.
Ridiculous Asar Imhotep. First of all, let's get to know Asar Imhotep. Listen for yourself. You go through any kind of hating process, huh? No, I played it, huh? Yeah. Okay, so you went through a hating process. No, I played it. There's a difference. Okay, so as you went through the hating process, did they smack you on the ass with a paddle? Yes, they did. Oh, okay. So you bent over, slapped your ankle, and that paddle was smacking that ass. Basically. Okay.
So,
did they smack you on the ass with a paddle? Yes, they did. Oh, okay. So you bent over, slapped your ankle, and that paddle was smacking that ass. Basically. Okay. Did they smack you on the ass with a paddle? Yes, they did. Oh, okay. So you bent over, slapped your ankle, and that paddle was smacking that ass. Basically. Okay.
The wood. I want you to break that down for me because they actually were showing us that in the fraternal initiation, which was real life. It was just art imitating life in this particular movie, showing what happens on these black colleges and these fraternities. Would you give me a breakdown of receiving the wood, that particular ritual, in terms of fraternities?
Well, it's really very simple. It's just how you described it. Now, one of the fraternities, I don't have it offhand, I can pull it up. But and looking at the video that Land Honor had put out, he talked about how receiving the paddle. Now, in public, they received the paddle to the behind. The paddle is made of wood. Well, wood to the behind, we know that the phallic symbol of wood that's the penis.
Yes.
So that is, so to speak, taking up the wood. This is symbolic of the homosexual nature that they are in because they call themselves Greeks. Now, we know the background of the ancient Greeks.
Yes.
And it is even in the literature, it is in a very big part of their society. And we know that in the fraternities, and even if you look at the Alpha website, that they say that they will do whatever they do is commiserate with the lifestyle of the Greeks.
Yes, sir.
So when you put all that together, we know that homosexuality and pederasty was a very big part of the Greek lifestyle, the homosexual, the man-boy love, so to speak, that sort of thing. So, and that is supposed to bring them close together, the man-boy relationship. And you see the same thing with these fraternities where you have the man-boy relationship with the person that's coming in and with their, big brother. And again, you have to realize that everything they do, it comes out of the Greek culture. So it stands to reason that when you take that wood, that's symbolic of that man-boy relationship.
Amen. Amen. And it's amazing, too, that, when we talk about the the Greek society, we know that there was a term called Greco-Roman society because they were pretty much so much alike, pretty much the same. And we see that Paul, as soon as he went to the Romans, he was dealing with that sin of homosexuality. That's one of the first things he dealt with because he saw how it was so prevalent, the orgies and all of this other sexual immorality that was taking place over in Rome. And notice we said Greco-Roman, how they were pretty much one and the same. And it amazes me how these people call themselves Black Greeks, Alpha Phi Alpha and Sigmas and all this stuff. In actuality, what you're doing is calling yourself a black homosexual. I'll give you an example in reference to the Greeks. We already mentioned Paul. We tied the scripture in the Bible, but let's look at the Greek history. Plato, who, now notice, this is letting us know how bad homosexuality, how it was the norm in Greece. Now, you have someone who was called Plato. You have Plato, Socrates, Aristotle. Now, these are considered the upper echelon of Greece. These are considered the scholars, the most brilliant people in Greece. These are not your typical people. Now, Plato in the Symposium wrote things like, the highest form of masculinity is homosexuality. These were the types of things that he wrote about. Now, notice if the upper echelon would be equivalent to your doctors, your professors, your scholars, your highest scholars in the society, if they thought like this, just imagine what your typical Greek thought. But notice, when you call yourself a black Greek, you're calling yourself a black homosexual. Another thing that we also need to tie in here that you tied in so beautifully, pedophilia and homosexuality are one and the same. The same thing. We have to understand that because homosexuals cannot reproduce naturally because, first of all, God made them male and female. But the devil comes in and changes God's order. He's a counterfeiter. If you can have counterfeit dollar bills, $2 bills, $3 bills, counterfeit so many things because there's an original. So the enemy, because he can't create these things, what he does, he goes and perverts it and counterfeits it. So because homosexuals cannot reproduce, because it goes against God, it goes against nature, two men together, two women together cannot reproduce, what he does is they reproduce spiritually. So this is why they go and molest little boys and young women are molested. So then they can put that spirit in them, so they're reproducing themselves. That's why you look at most people that we talk to. I would say probably 9 out of 10 of people that if we were to do go and talk to people and do a survey, 9 out of 10 of them would say that they were molested in one way or another.
One of the ones responsible, he had a magazine financed by Warner Brothers and the rest of them. He set up sex rings in Hollywood. And the people that he brought in, if y'all tell me if I'm lying, Quincy Jones brought in Fresh Prince. And his first movie was what? 6 Degrees of Separation. Fucking some dude in the ass on a movie. Am I right or wrong? He brought in Queen Latifah.
Set it off.
Queen Latifah set it off, licking and kissing on women. Are you following me? Yes. Kevin Campbell. His little sweet ass up and down Hollywood Boulevard. Thank you. See, y'all making me forget who's the other people that he brought in. He's working with the DeBarge family, and last but not least, when Tupac came to Hollywood, it was the homosexual ritual. This is where the homosexuals came out against him, but I didn't mind. I wasn't talking about homosexuals. I'm saying there's a homosexual ritual that they go through in the Illuminati secret societies. And it is. In Skull and Bones, they're made to lay in a coffin and masturbate and tell all their sexual secrets. So when I mentioned that about it marrying itself on to hip-hop, they said, well, can you prove it? Yeah. Go back and go online and read where Tupac said he was asked by Quincy Jones to fuck him in the ass. When Tupac said no, that's when Tupac was marked for death. Why? Because Tupac was engaged to Quincy Jones's daughter. Quincy Jones's daughter's best friend was Aaliyah. Aaliyah was engaged to Dame Dash. Now, if y'all follow these people back, all of them either died or was brought to ruin. Dame Dash broke, he had to go back to Jay-Z. Tupac dead, Aaliyah dead. So then I started talking about all the men that go into Hollywood that have to put on a dress. And this is real. So I'm saying, well, they were asking me, well, why are you talking about this in this manner? I said, because it's a ritual that they have to go through.
That's right. That's right.
And I told them the one that we should be applauding is Dave Chappelle. He gave them their money back and told them to go to hell. I'm not putting on no dress. Are you following me? Now we need to question Dave Chappelle on this ritual. He said when he went back to his trailer, the dress was already there. And they had 2 scripts already written. So when he turned down the first script, they already had the next one written for him. Are you following me? So this is a ritual. And I talked about the effeminization of the African male.
Absolutely.
I talked about how the Committee 300 sit in smoke-filled back rooms and they come up with these trends. And it made it very popular now and fashionable in hip-hop now to be bisexual. I call them trisexuals. They sleep with men, women, toys, animals, and a few other things. Are you following? You see, no, the metrosexual came when they wanted to set up that buffer. So when the conscious rapper came to go get the deal, they had to come through the metrosexual. And they let you know from the rip, you got to go through the ritual. You see, the ritual, the homosexual ritual is designed so that they can bind you to them forever. Are you following me?
into fourth and fifth dimension. Reptilians can't go into those dimensions, but they are master of the third dimension, in which you are in the third dimension lockdown. Reptilians can't go into those dimensions. Reptilians can't go into those dimensions. Reptilians can't go into those dimensions. And there are these powerful families that are ruling the world, okay? They got back. And most of them are hybrids. Most of them are children or offspring. That's why they don't want to mix blood. Because they are offspring. They are hybrids of other entities that are here.
You can wear them, put them in your pocket. If I reach in my left pocket, I can find it here, okay? I got a couple of sets of pockets. Okay, all right. If I reach into my left pocket, let me take the money out. They're gonna see jet, prosperity and abundance. So I'll start each day off with 120 and go home with a knot. Okay? You put this near your bank account. You put it near wherever you're saving money. You put one in your safe.
And how much those cost?
You can get as cheap as $5. Okay?
Our sisters today, a lot of them is coming up with the fibroids. What stone you think is good for our women to carry because of the womb and the fibroids? What stone is real good for the sisters?
Okay. First of all, male and female should have quartz crystal. That deals with clarity of focus and helps your whole aura. A lot of our problem is that our aura is foul. Our aura is bringing in negative energy. And so you want to protect that. Then I would go with purple. And that is to keep your vibration high. Our women have to have high vibration because they're bringing the children forth. Then you go with lapis lazuli, the dark blue stone, because that's going to help the development. So those three right on the top. So quartz crystal, amethyst. Okay, this is the amethyst, it's the purple stone. This is the clear quartz.
Oh, sister, no.
Right?
Oh, okay, my bad.
Go ahead.
Okay.
And then we can go with the lapis, the dark blue or the blue with the white in it. Okay, so those are vibrations, okay?
Not only is it possible, but it's an actual fact that most of us have been every race. We've been transgender, we've been animals, we've been all of these things. There's a story in particular that was so special. The first time I went to Kemet, Egypt, I went there for an equinox, and I went there with a very, very dear friend of mine, Wendy Mack from London, and we went there together. We were taken up on a ship, and I vowed that I would never talk about it. I would let her be the one to talk about it because she experienced it with me. There was a video that I have on my channel where we're talking back and forth on the phone, and she talks about all the things that happened when we were taken up on a ship. The first night we went to Egypt, and we stayed in Luxor. It was very powerful. Another thing, I talked about some of the beings that I work with, which are the Pleiadians. The Pleiadians are a very ancient version, and they had hand in seeding life on our planet, as did a lot of other star races, and they have children on this planet. And a lot of the people that speak German is an ancient Pleiadian language. There are a lot of things that you would not be able to get.
Talking about a Caucasian race now, a Caucasian looking race.
Now I'm going to counter that. There are black people that are Pleiadian. There are many black people, and Pleiadian, unfortunately, because of Barbara Hand Clow and some of the other people. There haven't been a lot of black people to espouse. I might be the only one to espouse Pleiadian knowledge, but there is what we would call a goddess. Her name is Electra, and she lives. Goddess? Yes, Her name is Electra, and she comes from a planet called Ira, which is in that constellation. The Pleiadians is known as 7 sisters, and they're run by a god named Atlan. And I spoke a lot about that. People that call my number and leave their heart-filled testimony about how they burned ancestor money that they got from me, which is accelerated thousands of times over, because I work with the god known the Jade Emperor, and he's known as the grandfather to this universe, but I don't want to go too far into that.
I want my people to be careful about these strange men who's teaching, because there's a bunch of strange motherfuckers out here, weirdos, and that's not good.
I'm gonna put this on record and say this. Polite is on record saying that he's an atheist. I'm gonna tell you right now, atheism is the religion of white supremacy. Let me say that again. Atheism is the religion of white supremacy. All of the darker peoples of the world of antiquity all believed in what is called a god. When you go into Sumeria, they believed in the Anunnaki, which would be called gods today. When you go into ancient Kemet, they believed in the Necharu, which would be called gods today. When you go into the Torah, we believe in Elohim, the singular, one God. All of the great, darker, melanated people of antiquity all believed in a higher divine power that both existed within them as well as without them, external to them, that was much greater than them. Atheism is the religion of white supremacy. Anybody who tells you that they are an atheist, especially a black man, is pushing white supremacy, because white supremacy is founded upon the idea that we have to disassociate the black man from his divine origin. So the first thing that they attack are all of the divine books associated with black people. Hence, eugenics was brought out to push that man came from apes. But What also came from that? Because remember, Charles Darwin was influenced by eugenics. Eugenics is the theory that white people are superior to black people. From eugenics came Darwinian theory, which is the theory of what? Man coming from apes, primates, right? I'm gonna tell you right now, you're playing a dangerous game when you start disassociating that melanin that you embrace from the divinity which is aboriginal to it, which is responsible for it. I'm gonna tell you right now, you in trouble when you do that. And because Polite is on the top of that totem pole, we're not even going to talk about Ankh right now, who calls himself the real black atheist. Because at the end of the day, I don't think he's really fit for this conversation with me, maybe somebody else. But when it comes to Polite, the reason why I consider Polite dangerous in this community and I want to challenge and tackle him on this is because I know for a fact that atheism is the religion of white supremacy. As soon as you teach black people to disassociate themselves with that which is divine within them, white supremacy stands on 10 toes. And I'm going to prove that.
I'm trying to teach you how to think. I'm not trying to own you. I want everybody to be a real black atheist. And it's so confusing because you got some people that like the ideology, but he's trying to destroy you. Look at the name Ankh. Ankh means life. Kaket means darkness. This nigga's the literal Grand Reaper. He's here to destroy your imagination. Darkness of life, void of life. In Medu-Neter, the word Kuket means dark, Ankh means life. It's dark life. And you guys, and people they just feed off of it. Oh, he's this, he's that. You need to be careful with who you're listening to. Seriously. What's their agenda? Because if a person can't interact with you or call you for free or see how you doing or just to, just do things, deal with the people or go out there with the youth and deal with the people or just interact with humanity, and all they got to do is talk on the internet all day and want to debate religion and talk about some stupid ass book about a dead ass language, because the Medu-Neter is a dead language.
So some black people wanted to be like some white people. And the white people wanted to be the Brotherhood of Death. Now you figure that one out. Propaganda put out in the Philadelphia Tribune about the Boule, but also denoting the anniversary. Now I want to make some interesting notes about the change in the Boule logo, which I believe Kemper Burns had something to do. I used to talk about how this was the face of a white woman. If you notice, they went back and put Susan Taylor's face on there. That's Susan Taylor's hair. But now they put a black woman's face on the logo where for 98 years they had a white woman. Somebody say public pressure don't work. Shit, these niggas know what they was doing. Then here, the note inside of this urn, you see this is a Grecian Sphinx. It's got a tail, a circular tail, sigma, wings like a bird, the body of a lion, the face of a woman. They serve one maiden only. Here, you can see that the right paw of the Grecian Sphinx is over the urn. In the urn, look like some little circular thing going on, but actually inside the urn is the circle within circle. That circle within a circle is a code phrase for the Rhodes Rothschild Secret Society, started in 1891 by Cecil Rhodes, proclamated after his death with a will. The first black Rhodes scholar came from Sigma Pi Phi Boule, Elaine Locke, and they never made another black Rhodes scholar until Elaine Locke died, as to show the umbilical cord was connected between Rhodes and Rothschild and Sigma Pi Phi Boule. The urn has a paw over it. It's covering it or making it unknown. What's in the urn? A circle within circle. In the second history book, it says that inside the urn are the names of the people chosen to lead the state. Imagine being a college professor and you got your hand over the names and you got to teach African children about the World Bank, the IMF, the Federal Reserve, the Bank of International Settlements, When I go there, even in the master's programs, they don't even know who these people are, because they're taught to serve them and not question them. Here is sigma, here is pi, and here is phi. Now this pi is very important because pi has something to do with this circle within a circle, or a round table group is what this pi has something to do with. Also, pi and the circumference of a circle is very important, and that brings up the numerology of 3.14. And we can talk for hours about that. Even see the movie in black and white called Pi, about a little white boy who drilled a hole in his head trying to solve the stock market by using a pi theory. But notice here, this is to obscure something secret. At one Boule convention, where we just walked in the lobby in Baltimore, right in the placemat was Boule convention upstairs. On that placemat were 9 squares, like tic-tac-toe with a box on it. Tic-tac-toe with a box on it. Now they've dressed it up to make it look like some comedic door. But actually, those are 9 squares. Sigma, 9 squares. Pi, 9 squares, phi. What's important about that is that those 9 squares are very important, what they call the 9 chambers of the Kabbalah. The Boule is a part of a Greek society of 4 female, 4 male, and the Boule make 9, a numerically significant number. This tic-tac-toe with the box around it, which I'm going to draw for the sake of this video, right here. This is like tic-tac-toe with a box around it. Those are the 9 squares of the Kabbalah. I'm not good artist. I'm a good researcher though. Brother Noah, how many black people we run into at the Boule convention trying to learn something?
Not too many.
Not too many. Right. Okay. 9 squares. In each of those squares go a number. All the numbers add up to 15. The Kabbalah. Madonna reading the Kabbalah. She stopped her conference, her concert in LA a couple weeks ago because she needed to talk to her Kabbalah man because she was losing it. Her shit was so jive and so stale. People was booing her. She had to go see her Kabbalah man, and she changed her schedule. But those 9 squares are important. Circle within a circle, 9 squares. When you go to New Haven, Connecticut, where Skull and Bones is, you see it's the city of the 9 squares. City of the 9 squares in New Haven, Connecticut, 9 squares on the logo of Sigma Pi Phi Boule. Very, very important. The numerical importance. Skull and Bones, they're numerically in on the number 322, which also adds up to 7. Very important. Here, this number is 9. 4, plus 1. 4 female, 4 male, plus 1. The AKAs, the deltas, the zetas, and sigma gamma rho, the alphas, the kappas, the omega psi phi, and the phi beta sigma, and the boule, the 9, the number 9. Very important in the 9 squares, 9 within the system. This is a numerically brace society. Started 100 years ago in Philadelphia on May 15th, 515.
The Skull and Bones secret society was originally called the Brotherhood of Death. George Bush Jr., his father George H.W. Bush, and his grandfather Prescott Bush have all been initiated into this macabre fraternity, which was established in 1832 at Yale University by William Huntington Russell, whose family were America's biggest opium smugglers. George W. Bush was initiated into the Skull and Bones Brotherhood of Death in 1968. The ceremony took place at the Society's headquarters, which is a stone building with almost no windows. This mausoleum-type building is known as the tomb. There is a small enclosed courtyard, an internal chamber where initiates lay masturbating inside a coffin, and a museum of artifacts held sacred by the society's members, which are all called bonesmen, regardless if they are male or female. Many of the artifacts inside the Skull and Bones headquarters have been stolen by its members. To prove their devotion to the Brotherhood of Death, bonesmen have robbed graves, bringing human skulls and skeletons back to their tomb and placing them in glass display cabinets. For nearly 40 years, George W. Bush has been an active member of this most bloodthirsty occult secret society. His allegiance is primarily to his fellow bonesmen, not the American people. In order to prove his devotion to the Skull and Bones, Prescott Bush, grandfather of George W. Bush, savagely desecrated the grave of Apache Indian chief Geronimo. Prescott Bush robbed Geronimo's grave and had Geronimo's skull placed in a display case alongside the order's other treasured possessions, which include silver tableware from Hitler's Eagle's Nest headquarters in Nazi-occupied Austria. Welcome to the satanically inspired secret world of the Skull and Bones Brotherhood of Death. Welcome to the sick world of the Bush family. The Skull and Bones headquarters is on the campus of Yale University. Yale is home to several other lesser secret societies, including the Scroll and Key. Alexandra Robbins is an American journalist who has written a book about the Skull and Bones called Secrets of the Tomb. In her book, she traces the origins of this cult, which was funded from profits of the Russell Company in the early 1800s. The Russell Trading Company was nothing more than an opium trading empire, which, still to this day, is the corporate arm of the Skull and Bones Secret Society. William Huntington Russell had travelled in Germany during his student years and was befriended by a disciple of Adam Weishaupt's Bavarian Illuminati. Upon returning to the USA in the early 1800s, Russell used some of his family's opium wealth to fund the building of the tomb at Yale University. Russell initiated several of his fellow classmates, including Alphonso Taft, who would go on to become the Secretary of War and ambassador to Russia. Alphonso Taft's son became President of the United States, and so a time-honored tradition of hereditary membership of the Skull and Bones Brotherhood of Death was begun. We see this tradition continued to this day, with senior bonesmen encouraging young initiates to marry into each other's families, their sons and daughters following in their parents' footsteps and becoming disciples of this most unholy of orders.
Hawati en Tawi, Tem Jaffa Kau, Ta Pen M Awef, Mu F, Ta F, Sem F, Menemenet F Nebet, Hayet Nebet, Henenet Nebet, Jedefuet F, Awet F, Haset, Semawu M SaaNeter.